Good afternoon. I want to thank everyone who has joined us today. Let me especially thank the two individuals who have joined who will be speaking and who know so very well why we're making today's announcement. After I say some remarks, I'm going to turn it over to the California Community College's Chancellor, Eloy Ortiz Oakley. And after Chancellor Ortiz Oakley speaks, he will then turn it over to the Assistant Vice Chancellor of International Programs at the California State University System, Leo Van Cleve. And so to both the Chancellor and to the Assistant Vice Chancellor, I want to say thank you for being part of this effort, for having your team work so hard with my team, get us to this point where we can make today's announcement. California graduates more students from college than anyone else, and we're proud of having the most diverse group of students in the nation. With COVID-19 cases surging across the country, this latest callous Trump policy requires students to take classes in person, putting themselves, teachers, your children in school, and our community at risk of not getting the education, but more importantly, of not having the type of health safety precautions taken to make sure that they're protected. This could put everyone at risk of getting and spreading the coronavirus, or be subject, in the case of these international students, to deportation if they don't comply with this latest Trump policy. California is home to thousands of international students who attend our colleges and universities all over the state. In fact, we're the largest public education system in the nation. California has more students on international visas than any other state. As the Department of Homeland Security itself has noted, California had more than 184,000 international students as of January of this year. That's 16% of the total in colleges and universities across this nation. You can understand why, then, it is so important that we take this action today. However, the new coronavirus cases that we're seeing are averaging more than 7,500 a day here in California over the last week. The Trump administration policy turns our universities into hotspots of the disease. This policy isn't just unlawful, it's dangerous and morally reprehensible. Let's face it, one of the biggest risk factors for the coronavirus in this country is President Trump and his administration. State and local officials are far better positioned to determine how to reopen our institutions and facilities based on public health conditions, and this new Trump policy ignores that reality. This policy by President Trump flies directly in the face of guidance his own administration issued on March the 13th, and they advertise it as being in place for the duration of the pandemic emergency. Let me just read you the language that they used on March 13th in their guidance that went out to all these international students and to the schools that host them. Quote, given the extraordinary nature of the COVID-19 emergency, the SEVP program, the Students and Exchange Visitors Program, will allow F1 and or M1 students, these are the student visa holders, to temporarily count online classes towards a full course of study in excess of the limits stated in the relevant regulation. Quote, this temporary provision is only in effect for the duration of the emergency and in accordance with the procedural change documents filed in a timely manner to SEVP. In effect for the duration of the emergency. There is no one, I believe, in America who would say that America is out of the COVID-19 emergency. And yet, less than 3 months after issuing that guidance, they are now flip-flopping. It was guidance that universities and students across the country relied upon to make plans for the upcoming school year to protect their safety and well-being. For those enrolled in programs with no in-person classes available, the Trump administration's only additional guidance to students was to either leave the country or transfer to another program. You know how tough it is to transfer to another program at this stage? Bottom line, the decision to move ahead with this policy was simply arbitrary and capricious. Today's lawsuit rests on America's enduring principle that everyone who works hard and plays by the rules can earn a chance to get ahead. And with just weeks to go before the school year starts, we plan to file for a preliminary injunction very soon to put a stop to this new policy by the Trump administration before it irreparably brings harm to so many in this country. We've stopped this administration before, and we're prepared to do it again. With the facts and the law on our side, we'll see the Trump administration in court. Let me now ask our chancellor from the Community College System of California to please say his remarks. Chancellor Ortiz Oakley, please, your turn.
Thank you, Attorney General Becerra. I want to thank you and your entire team for once again being steadfast in your defense of California Community College students, whether it's an attack on our DACA students or our non-Title IV eligible students or now our international students. Your office has always been there to support our students. So thank you on behalf of all of us, all the 2.1 million students in our system. And I just want to remind our viewers that our system of the California Community Colleges educates 1 out of every 4 community college students in the nation. So we're critical to the infrastructure of the nation, not just California. And our international students are an important part of that. We serve well over 21,000 international students. Cases like this, issues like this continue to create fear and anxiety on our college campuses. And this is a time where we need to reassure our students, not create more fear and anxiety, regardless of where the students come from. Many of our international students do not have the resources to get back on a plane and go to their home countries. Many of them have been trying to contact their consulates and can't get anybody because many of them are closed. So it is nearly impossible for these students to just pick up and leave. We want to ensure that they can continue to receive their education in a safe and effective manner. And that speaks to the larger issue here. Our colleges are in the best position to determine how to safely reopen and ensure that our students can continue to receive the education that they deserve. So I'm hoping that through this action, the administration allows our colleges the freedom to exercise that good judgment. We want every student to continue their education in this pandemic, but we want to also ensure the safety of our students, of our faculty, of our staff, and our community. And I think, as the Attorney General said, working here in the state of California, we know how to do that best. So again, I want to thank you, Mr. Attorney General, to your entire team. We look forward to working with you to continue to defend our students and their ability to gain access to the high quality education that California Community Colleges delivers. And with that, I will stop my comments and turn it over to Vice Chancellor Van Cleef.
Thank you also for the opportunity to join you today, and thank you, Chancellor Oakley and Attorney General Becerra. California State University joins others here today in opposing the policy guidance issued Monday by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. This guidance unfairly disrupts our more than 10,000 international students' progress toward their degree, unnecessarily placing them in an extremely difficult position. It may deprive these students and our communities, our state, and the nation we serve of the contributions that these international students make. CSU is the largest and most diverse four-year university in the United States. That diversity is essential to the vibrancy of our teaching, learning, and discovery experiences across all of our campuses. And international students are a vital part of that experience. They contribute a diversity of thought, perspective, life experience that enriches our campuses in myriad ways, and together with all of our students pursue their academic, professional, and their personal dreams. These students deserve better than this. They deserve better than to have their dreams put on hold. They deserve better than to face possible deportation, and they deserve better than the risk and expense of international travel in the middle of a global public health crisis, all through no fault of their own. In fact, some of our students may not be able to leave due to the travel restrictions imposed as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. The CSU applauds the Attorney General's decision to take this strong action in opposition to ICE's policy guidance, and we look forward to working together in the coming days and weeks to seek a change. Attorney General Becerra, thank you very much, and I give it back to you.
Vice Chancellor, thank you very much. Let's do this. Let's take some questions, but I've been alerted by my team that I apparently went dark for a little while, so you may have missed some important things. I suspect you didn't miss that I said that we're announcing a lawsuit, so I hope that that was there. My assumption is that you heard me say that right now is the worst time for the administration to try to implement such a new policy because it threatens to exacerbate the threat of the coronavirus and to force hundreds of our students in college across the country that are part of the student exchange visitor program into Hobson's choice. Face deportation or face endangering not just your own health, but the health of others that will be around you if you try to attend physically some of these classes. It's a drastic flip-flop from the administration's earlier position stated back on March 13th, where they had the good sense to say that if an institution wants to make sure that we're not endangering the health and lives of others, they will go towards online teaching. And now all of a sudden they're completely reversing where they were and say now they want this to happen. My sense is that this is an escape valve for President Trump to try to hide the reckless and irresponsible national handling of the coronavirus pandemic here in this country. Who would have said that America would be the leader in the number of coronavirus cases, infections, and it is yet not under control. And when you have someone who is at the top who's not on his watch and who doesn't believe the buck stops with him, these are the kinds of things that happen. So maybe he thinks it'd be better to force everyone to start doing things the regular way so it doesn't look like there's a real problem. That'll help mask the difficulties that he's created at a time when he wants to show that he's actually a leader. Unfortunately, he's doing just the opposite, leading people down the path of real harm and health destruction. So I mentioned those things. I mentioned how California is the leader in the nation when it comes to the number of students that graduate from our universities and colleges. I mentioned how we have the most diverse student body in the nation. I mentioned how we have some 184,000 plus students, international students who attend our institutions of higher education. We're very proud of all that. But the bottom line is today we're taking action because we believe it's important to continue to defend those who work hard and play by the rules, who've done things the right way to get that education, and no better place to do it than in California. So we're going to stand up for them. We're going to stand up for everything our community colleges and our Cal State University system stand for. We're going to do this the right way.